Hi there. So you may be wondering why I'm actually doing this video. So it's very simple. I've done the Ultra Trail Mont-Blanc 3 times since 2015, and it's an event unlike any other. The atmosphere and the hype around race week is what I can only equate it to as Tour de France. If you ever watched that on TV, then you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's 106 miles with 33,000 feet of elevation gain as you're circumnavigating the Mont Blanc massif, and it's just spectacular. However, while I've done it 3 times, because ultra running and this particular event have become so popular, it's become more and more difficult to enter the event. In fact, you can only enter through participation in a lottery where they draw the winners, which means you get to start. And even to apply for the lottery, you have to have what's called an ITRA index, as well as a certain number of UTMB points. Those points are 10 points required for the UTMB, which is the Queen event, 6 points for the CCC, which is the 100K, and then 4 points for the OCC, which is the 50K. Now, you have to have acquired those points in no more than 2 years and in also no more than 2 races. So that alone is already quite challenging, and even with that, having entered, the only reason I got into the races in 2018 and 21 is because of what they had, what was called the 2-time loser rule. So you apply twice, you don't get in, you guaranteed entry the 3rd year. Hence my finishes in 15, 18, and 21. Now UTMB points you get via UTMB qualifier events. And more events actually got that designation, paid a fee to become a UTMB qualifier, because it helped them attract runners to the events. This has helped new events, small events, to compete with the bigger, more popular, more established events. So ultimately, that was a win for both the UTMB organization as they got to market their product around the globe, and it helped these smaller new events to attract more runners just through the designation and the ability to award UTMB points. Now, this existing system changed, the qualifier system changed in 2020, 2021 with the introduction of running stones. What is that, you ask? Well, that's what I asked myself back then as well. Basically, you would earn running stones by finishing a UTMB affiliated or UTMB owned event. And the number of stones you could earn would be based on the distance and the difficulty of the race. So obviously shorter distance, easier race, fewer stones, longer race, difficult race, more stones. And similar to UTMB points, now you had to earn them in UTMB events that were either owned or at least closely affiliated with the UTMB organization. These stones would then grant runners extra tickets in the UTMB lottery. So if you had 4 stones or 5 stones, you would get 4 or 5 extra tickets in the lottery, thereby increasing your chances of getting drawn to toe the line in Chamonix. That was a change, and everything else regarding the index and so forth stayed the same until it wasn't the same anymore. So I do think it is at this point worth noting that somewhere in here UTMB and Ironman organizations decided to enter into a partnership for business purposes, marketing purposes, or whatever it may be. Who knows the exact details other than the organizations themselves. The major change that was now introduced in 2022 was that not only did you need running stones to increase your odds, you now needed running stones just to enter the lottery. So if you didn't have running stones, you could not enter the UTMB lottery anymore. This is true from now moving forward. There's a few exceptions to that, like the PTL and the TDS events that take place during the same week as the other UTMB events, but have slightly different rules. But for all the other events, you could only apply for the lottery with running stones. The ITRA index was eliminated entirely, but it was replaced with what's called the UTMB index, which at the surface seems to be somewhat identical to the ITRA index. So really the value system seems to be the same. And the way you earn an index score is by completing a UTMB World Series major event or a World Series event race, or you can actually do a UTMB index race. Again, same rule as before, you have to have done these 2 years prior, within the last 2 years, to be able to have a valid index. Now, how you place, what your score is, doesn't matter, but you do have to make sure that it is in the race category that you're applying for. Meaning, if you're applying for the CCC, which is 100K, then you must have a UTMB index in a 100K distance, meaning you must have done an index race over 400K. Now the good news is that there's more than 700 UTMB index races in North America. It includes Mexico, Canada, and the United States. The more challenging part is how to earn the running stones. And how do you do that? Well, you just have to run an event that awards running stones. In North America, there's a total of 4 races that actually award running stones. And 3 of those are in the US and 1 of them is in Mexico. Those races are the Canyons Endurance Runs in Auburn, California, the Western States Endurance Run in Olympic Valley, California, the Speed Goat Mountain Races in Sandy, Utah, and then finally the Puerto Vallarta, Mexico event in Mexico. Those are the only 4 events you can participate in to earn running stones in North America. Now, you can travel outside North America to events around the globe, but obviously that's going to take a much heftier budget just to get qualifiers to enter the lottery. Now, how do I feel about it? Well, you really just have 2 options. You either accept it and deal with it, or you look elsewhere. There's obviously plenty of amazing races out there, plenty of challenging events, long distance, short distance, big mountains, no mountains, whatever you want to do. There's so many places to do it. You don't have to go to Chamonix-France to do that. However, UTMB and the Chamonix Valley are a very special place and event. So my advice, do it. If you can afford it, do it. Go for it. It is definitely worth it doing once. Anyone I've ever encouraged to try it and who has gone has not stopped raving about it. So it is a very special event. Now there's a few things I did not address in this video. That includes how do elite runners qualify. There's also a way for age group winners. And then there's also a few COVID rollovers still for 2023. So those are special rules there. I'll try to put some links into the description as well as in the comments below. But other than that, there's really just one outstanding topic that I was unable to find any information on, and that's the charity bibs. I'm not sure if they did away with it or not, but I could not find any information on it. So I have a feeling they may be reworking that. So hopefully some of the information I shared here was helpful to you. If that's the case, please be kind and hit subscribe. And hopefully I'll see some of you on the trails, either in Chamonix or elsewhere.